children. The other thing we do for childcare centers is an extremely good job of trying to connect them on a marketing, by marketing them through social media, because they have these existing parents who are already vocally supporting them. They're sending their hearts out there to the childcare centers. So they are the ones who will be proponents of these childcare centers. What we want to do next is to spread this virally through the parent app, where parents are connecting amongst each other to set up play dates, and because the biggest congregation is around childcare centers.
That's time. Thank you. Questions?
I really like the pitch, very clear. So I compliment you for that. I think the value proposition is clear, your team was very, very clear, and the domain expertise of the team was also relevant to what you're doing. So I think that's an important attribute. The one thing I didn't hear is how you get paid. How do you monetize?
So the people who pay us are the childcare centers, because we are the ones who market their centers. There's two ways in which they pay us. One is for any new leads that get generated, we are the ones, because we track each of those leads. The second thing is there is this subscription model where they're using all the operational services that we provide them through this mobile platform. For the parents, to address their separation anxiety on the parent app side, we have all these upsell of services like photo portfolios and video streaming services, as in NannyCam, which we charge the parents.
So in terms of the actual use case, so if there's a 5-year-old in a child care center, who's providing the hardware for all of the service delivery?
So we are experimenting with two ways. One is close to a freemium model where the childcare centers are the ones buying the iPod touches. The second model we are experimenting is actually rolling out the iPod touches and installing it for them. But it's a higher price point.
So my question will come across wrong, okay? I'm warning you. So is this a lifestyle business, or do you see this as a venture business?
It's a venture business. The one thing I didn't touch on is there's 30 million parents just in the United States with children under the age of 6. And all these people have a big problem. The two biggest problems young parents face, is when their child goes to a childcare center. Moms are extremely worried about what's going on. The other thing is, when you start to look for nannies and childcare centers, you want to know who's the best, and the best way to recommend that to you is your network. So we do see this as a big business, and once they have the app on their phones, it's going to they're going to live through these apps through their lifetime, as their children go into kindergarten and beyond. We are using that congregation of all those parents that start with the childcare centers.
You said you had 1,000 parents, right? How many childcare centers does that translate into? I don't know the ratio of parents to childcare. And how much revenue have you actually made?
So there are 5 centers using the product. Sorry, what was the second question?
How much revenue?
So revenue, we are not charging anybody, but we can switch that on anytime. We could get $100 from each childcare center at this moment.
Per month?
Per month.
And do those economics make sense in terms of acquiring each child care center, provisioning the hardware and getting them trained on using it, and so on? Does $1,200 a year per child care center make sense for you?
So these are not. So this is the service where we don't provide the hardware. But in terms of scale, selling to each of these mom and pop shops is not the right way to do it. So that's why we want to get that viralness going from the parent side, for one. Secondly, there's about 10 to 15 such childcare chains like Bright Horizons and CCLCs will try to build.
Great. You guys ready to show some scorecards here. Unfortunately, Akash said that it's moms who are worried about their kids, not dads. So you guys are all not really as smart as this. Let's see. Call me, email me, and email me. That's great. So why are you excited as a dad who doesn't care about his kids?
First of all, my kids are already in college. No.
So you especially need this.
So I just tell them, text me after you get to whatever place you guys are getting to. No, I think the idea is very good, but my question to you on, is this a lifestyle business or is this a venture business, is something that I think you should think hard about. Because, if you're going to make $1,200 per installation per year, just think about the number of installations you need to make it into a $50 million, $100 million business. And if you think that by hardware you're going to make money, margins on hardware are not that good. So this has to be a software play. So I like what you're doing, and I think it has a potential to become bigger than what you are planning today. But you have to think about how you get other daycare centers, and then what is the incentive for a parent to pay as well. So I think if you have to have combinations of maybe it's a Pinterest plus something like this, where it's a community of that kind. So it can become something big and important, but the revenue piece of it is, I think, very unclear. And maybe it will become clearer down the road, but it is something that you should think about.
Really, you said email me.
I really like the idea. I think you've got a lot of raw material here that you need to mold to make it a VC business if it's going to be. For example, if you got 1,000 parents and you charge $10 each, you probably already made much more than you'll make with the 5 childcare centers that there are a lot, and you could charge both. For example, there's nothing that says you should charge only one. You could charge different rates to each. You could charge for events in the childcare center. To see videos, you get extra premium. I won't discuss it, but I think there are a lot of models that you could go to. So I think this is very good, and I'd really like to talk to you and get to know a little bit more.
Steve, feedback?
So the reason you can email me, in truth, it's not a good fit for Onset, but I liked your pitch. You did a great job describing your pain, your team, your traction, and you answered the questions in the follow-up session well, thoughtfully with the right data. But I am going to align with Vanu and Murali here on the same points where you really have to think about the business model here, because it's a low-priced product. You need to find different ways to make more money off of it. And the other question I would have would be around leverage distribution. Is there any way to get to child care centers, in broad swaths, just be able to get large groups at once? I don't know if there's any child care center chains or so on, but if there's any way to do that, that would be something that would be really helpful for you. I would contrast you with the earlier company that was doing kind of social recommendation. You had more proof points than he had more proof points than you did, and that was kind of what took me up to the next level of grading on this process.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Akash, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sumant Thamma.
Yeah, my name is Sumant, and I'm building a Facebook application called Invest with Friends. So the basic idea is we are all trying to invest in the stock market, and we all have friends in our network who can give us better recommendations on a certain stock. So what the application will do is, if you're trying to evaluate a stock, it'll identify people in your network who are best qualified to give you a recommendation on the stock. So we'll identify people based on their educational background, their professional background, the people in their networks, and their past rating history and all that stuff. And for more advanced users, we'll provide real-time stock trends in the network, and we'll also aggregate information from Twitter. And I'm also trying to provide expert articles from people in the business community. That's the idea. And the team it's just me right now, and I've just started building this application.
How are you going to make money?
So I'm thinking for the advanced users, we could charge a monthly fee like $5 or something like that. So they have access to articles written by experts and tools to screen and evaluate the stocks.
I think there may be a need for this because everybody is trying to find people who know something about a stock. But there are also plenty of sources. The competition for this is unbelievable. And so I don't know that Facebook is the correct place to do it and whether I'd be willing to put my network, my stock portfolio for your consumption and also for Facebook's consumption. So I see a lot of privacy problems with it.
So just to answer the question, I wasn't recommending that people put their stock portfolio on Facebook, but the idea is, let's say I'm evaluating Apple or Microsoft. So I would go to the application and type in the symbol name, and it would give me a list of people who are qualified to make a recommendation on that stock. So it's not that.
What is the qualification?
So the qualification, the criteria I'm thinking about is, like if you have 10 friends in your network, we'll identify people who are working in the technology sector, people who have made recommendations on related stocks and have been successful in the past, their education, if they know people who work in Apple or who work in Microsoft or who work in technology companies.
You know, this has been done. I forget the name of a company, but this has already been done. I mean, you have a nice name, Invest with Friends, like Draw with Friends or something like that. But this has been done, and I don't know what other regulatory issues, if you've thought of it or not. Because if you are a company that is providing a platform for advice, I don't know what the regulatory issues are. I don't know if you have thought of those items as part of your business plan.
No, I haven't actually found it, but it's a good idea. I'll look at it. Thank you.
I also don't think this is a VC business. I think it's a good business for somebody to create a little lifestyle product.
As with most Facebook apps.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys ready to show them your score? We got here. No thanks, no thanks, no thanks. Steve, let's start with you.
For a number of reasons. One, I'm not sure I saw the defensibility of this. Two, the monetization was a little bit vague for me. I need to understand how this could actually be a big business. When you brought up a number of $50 or $100 million in revenue at some point, which is when an exit is attractive to a VC, I don't see getting from A to B with the discussion that you have.
Really?
I got the idea, but apart from that, I think it was early. So you did a good job of conveying the idea, but it just is that the idea is early in your mind, its idea is early to present, and so a lot of the questions we would ask, you wouldn't be able to answer, like the regulatory issues. So it may take some time.
I think you're still at a kind of, again, not to sound, whatever, but it's still at a hobby level idea, I think. I hope you understand what I mean. I'm not going to put you down, but I think you are still at that very nascent stage. And these are all dinner conversations when we meet in a weekend or whatever. Hey, what are you investing, this, that. So I think it's still at that concept. I think you need to put a business framework around it. I think right now it's more like a social framework around a discussion item. But I think you need to take it to that next level before you kind of feel that this is a venture-funded business or an angel-funded business.
Yeah,
Okay?
I agree with you.
My issue with it is I just don't trust my friends. Steve will tell me to buy when he's really trying to sell his stuff. No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jason Lane.
How are you? Very ready. All right, great. Hi, my name is Jason Lane, and I'm the founder of MagicBlocks.com, your kids' book library. We're bringing kids' books where Netflix and Spotify brought theirs by giving parents, schools, and kids unlimited access to a huge collection of kids' ebooks through a low subscription fee. We already have traction. We've been around for about 2 years, and we have almost 4,000 registered users, and a little over 300 books. My son has always loved reading, but I'm getting a little bit tired of buying books all the time and watching him, reading them once or twice and then watching them sit on the shelf all the time. So giving him unlimited access is very expensive or inconvenient because, like most busy parents, it's really tough to get out to the library all the time. So in order to make reading more accessible and fun, we've created this kids ebook library, and in order to make it more affordable, we're allowing authors and publishers to add their books to our library for free, and then we share the revenue with them. So we've already established hundreds of relationships with authors and publishers from around the world with award-winning content, and we've given them tools to basically upload their content with existing PDF files that they already have. So at this point, we've basically set out to prove willingness to pay and willingness for authors and publishers to upload their books. And now we're looking to raise a little bit of seed capital to help us get ready to scale and go after the market. So that's
The team, who are you?
So I have 16 years of technology experience and over 10 with building digital media platforms. I used to work at NBC Universal and MGM Mirage, building out video platforms and in-room entertainment systems and video workflow systems for NBC, building content. And I have an engineer out of the UK who used to work for HTC, building my Android app, and I have several other advisors and investors who have serial entrepreneurs and have sold companies to Sony and all in digital media, and so I have a handful of different people helping out as well.
How does the business model work with the publishers of, the really the books that get probably 90% of the income in the space?
So the model is even. It works the same for everybody. Basically, what we do is we take all the revenue that we generate from either subscriptions or eventually sponsorships when we have more eyeballs, and we split it in half, and we keep half. And then the rest of the money goes into an author pool, and that gets distributed out based on book reading performance. So if your book generates 10% of the reads for a given month, you get 10% of that revenue for the month. And the idea is the good books will rise to the top and the bad books will rise to the bottom. So we see thousands and thousands of books coming into the system from all over the world, and the good ones will show up in our recommendation engines.
So if I'm an author, how much am I making off a book on your system versus a book that had gone through the traditional publishing, physical Atom route?
Sure.
Or Amazon.
So good question. So we're still scaling, but this is an additional channel, not an exclusive channel. So it's non-exclusive. You should go. Authors should basically put their content in as many channels as they can. But through our channel, we have a huge upside potential because our revenue over reads is going to keep growing, right? We're gonna, we can get 1 million users who are paying us. And we might still have, several thousand books or the same number of reads because some people aren't going to read as often as others. So we have this potential of having a revenue over read that keeps going up and up. So we can have, right now we're seeing about, with a little bit of revenue and the little bit of users we have, we're seeing about 50 cents per read, basically. And we see that going up to multiple dollars per read. And it doesn't change the value for the end user to the consumer because they're still paying $20 a year for a subscription. It doesn't matter. They can read as much as they want.
So you did answer the question on the team, but I don't know whether you do or whether you plan to get somebody that's got extensive relationships with publishing houses. It's a fairly difficult business to crack, and whenever you're dealing with content like this where you're licensing somebody's content, whether it's music, videos, books, whatever, generally the person who's licensing it gets killed, So Netflix is going through that. So.
Yeah. So let me respond to that. So we're not really establishing, set contracts with these guys. I do have contacts with about 200 publishers and authors that I've gained over the last couple of years of going to conferences and making phone calls and going to lunches and sitting at author meetings and things like that. So I have built this extensive network throughout the author and publisher industry, including, I just met the CEO of HarperCollins, and he saw our stuff and he said, yeah, that's great. We've been trying to solve this revenue share problem for, the royalty distribution problem for a while. Let's talk. So I'm in the process of going and, setting up a meeting with him. But yeah, so I've got a lot of extensive, and then some of my close early adopter publishers also have, major connections as well, and they love the idea, so.
If you look at the education segment, whether it is K through 12 or pre-K or whatever, literally billions of dollars have gone into that segment, and maybe hundreds of millions into how to make it into digital stuff. In your words, why is it that nobody has succeeded as such in this particular space? Because one of the things that investors will look at it is templates, right? Who else has succeeded, and how do you see success in some other segment and bring it to this particular segment, right? So there aren't that many successes that I can think of in the education segment, and maybe I'm not looking far and wide. Why do you think that is the case, and why do you think that how do you go from 300 books to 3,000 books to 30,000 books? Is it just capital, or is it something beyond that?
It's pretty much capital. A couple of questions there. So ebooks are brand new, right? We only had the iPad for about 2 years. We actually started this concept before the iPad existed, so we went with a web strategy.
Yeah, but PCs
right?
have been around for a long time.
PCs have been around for,
People have tried that.
but nobody's really created, so the publishing industry is still coming around to understand digital books, especially in the kids book segment, which by the way is $2 billion out of a $27 billion industry. And up until this point, they're making plenty of money selling books on hardcover. Up until the last 2 years, we're starting to see decline in hardcover sales and a huge increase in ebook sales, as we know, because of the iPad and Android tablets, right? So we're at the forefront of this change and this shift in industry. We're basically where music and movies were 5-10 years ago, right? We're now there with books because the technology's caught up, and we're able to do that. People have bandwidth, and so I forgot the other part of the question, but yeah, basically we're still at the forefront of this industry, and the reason why we think we can be successful, and the reason we only have 300 books and we only have 4,000 users is because we haven't advertised. This is strictly prototype. The first year and a half has been this, we opened the door in July of 2010 with one book, an inch a little bit, got some books, got some users, and with the whole purpose of just testing this market out. And we've learned a lot, so now we're actually about 60 or 70% through version 2 of the site. We're building native apps instead of an HTML5 interface, which we have now. And we're improving the ingestion process, so instead of having a very complicated conversation with authors that we have now, which is restricting the amount of books we can get and the speed, it's upload your PDF just like a YouTube video. So it's just as easy as going to YouTube and uploading a video. We approve it, and then it goes live.
Great. You guys set? So what you guys think about this one? All right. Call me, no thanks, and yours is email me. So you've got one of each on this one. All right. Straight flush. Call me.
This is a problem that Intel as a corporation is trying to bring to the market, and there has been a lot of money that has gone in, and Intel has a lot of initiatives on the education side. So in some ways, this is an area that is near and dear to Intel's heart, and for obvious reasons. But so everybody understands the market potential, but I don't think people have figured out what is that magic key that unlocks to make those billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars. So from a market size potential and everything, I think this is an attractive area. The question is, is it a capital thing, or is it something that is so structurally difficult in this segment to get to the point where you have not just the books and the users, but monetize it as well? So that's a challenge that I see in this business.
Ron?
My no thanks is simply because I don't understand the space. I don't have the domain. I don't know the content world. I do have a question for you to think about, which is the kind of capital and the kind of work it's going to take to establish these relationships and get this going as a business. It seems daunting to me.
Sure. Steve?
So, well, if you look at the content aggregation space, there certainly have been successes in terms of raising money. So Spotify's been able to do it. Chegg on the Pandora, Chegg in the book space, but the textbook space, which is a different market. Trying to understand I don't understand the economics of your business, how well you can monetize in the end. If it's kids' books, you probably can't start pumping ads through on the side, but maybe, I don't know. So the question I would have really would be, for you in terms of your pitch, is I really need to get comfort that you have a firm grasp and can communicate the economics for your business.
Sure.
So how much capital does it take to get to break even with how many subscriptions, what it means to work with royalty breakdown and revenue share with the authors and or the publishers.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, on the flip side of what I said, I mean, there are companies like Flipboard that, have a lot of usage, and they have figured out at least how to bring content from the magazines or publish to the iPad, and it's one of the most popular things. And then there are e-catalog companies that are out there. So maybe the tablet is the right medium for consuming these things, and maybe it is the time for it, but it is the monetization and how much capital do you need, and what relationships do you need to make it successful.
Thank you.
I have to say, I never understood why in this world we have so many kids' books when they always read the same 3 or 4 every night anyway. That's a different issue. Exactly, sometimes the same 3 books each night. Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is it Pixar? John Munson?
Okay, first of all, I'm not John. John is sitting there, that's my co-founder. My name is Surya, and I'm the mobile architect for one of the large oracles of the world. I won't name it right now, but that's my day job. But my passion is basically building awesome mobile experiences. So I'm actually coming back from a business trip from San Diego right now, and on my way back from the airport, my taxi driver basically asked me, where do I need to take you? So I said, I don't know the exact address, but it's somewhere close to the convention center in Santa Clara. So what I did, I typed in sv.tie.org in one of my so-called smartphones, and this is what I get, which is not a very good experience from an end user point of view. So what Pixar is doing is basically solving this exact problem. This is just one of the billions of websites that still live in the age of Nokia, in this age of iOS 6, where the world is having so many smartphones, and that's the problem statement basically. And Pixar is basically solving this exact problem. And what we are building is a WebKit-based HTML5 content transformation and rendering engine at the core, which has more pieces to it, but that's the crux of the problem that we're trying to solve. Value proposition: businesses can optimize AWE, optimize their existing websites. Value proposition to end users, it's very obvious. I mean, I don't have to pinch and zoom and stretch and all sorts of things. Business model is basically we have a freemium model, and we have a team of currently John and I are the co-founders, and we have 3 people besides us. We are both ex-Yahoo, and we've been working for the past 15 years, and we have 1 person working on the content side who's an ex-Stanford guy, currently working for Pandora, and 2 other people, 1 designer from Apple.
Perfect timing.
I must confess, I don't think I understood what you were doing. If you were doing something, if you're saying that I'm going to mobilize a website by having an m dot something or whatever, if that's what you're doing, then there are hundreds of others who are trying to do the same thing or have done it. So perhaps be a little bit more articulate as to what the issue was. I understand that you went to a website that was not optimized for that form factor, but other than that, what was the issue?
So the issue is exactly that, is the website is not optimized for consumption on a mobile device. And what we are building is a content transformation and rendering engine, which will basically, with a click of, just like one text box and 1 button, you type in your URL and will basically, our algorithms will basically process that content, extract the content, and basically widgetize it into a mobile optimized website, basically.
How will you sell? So I understood that you're mobilizing, that's what I got too, experience mobilized. How will you sell and how will you tell people you exist?
So we have two strategies there. One is Google, and besides other companies like Yahoo and Microsoft are investing huge amount of time and money in educating small businesses, small SMBs to go mobile basically with their Go Mo strategy. So we plan to partner with Googles and Yahoos of the world and also leverage our Yahoo connections from Yahoo to basically lead those efforts and also integrate with channel partners and resellers. Does that?
Excuse me, as a follow-up, what do you mean by partner with Google and Yahoo? There must be hundreds of people.
So Google has an initiative which they call it Go Mo.
No, I understand that, but there must be 100 people trying to do the same thing you're doing, which is partner with the Go Mo strategy. What do you think you're going to do special?
So our secret sauce lies in basically the patent pending algorithms that transform this unstructured web content into a mobile optimized version.
So, how big do you think this business can be, and what is the right financing strategy for you? Are you looking for venture capital financing, or is this a lifestyle business? And the reason I'm saying is most VCs have a little bit of a lean back approach to tools. At least in enterprise tools, you get paid a lot, or you get paid something. Mobile tools, man, you don't get paid that much. That's kind of the issue.
So the answer to that is twofold. Basically, one is we are currently at a pre-alpha stage. We are trying to finish up the alpha product, and basically the idea is to invite 1,000 early customers and try out the product. So that is to just penetrate the market, and we'll initially focus on the SMB market. And eventually the core of the platform lies in the engine itself. The smartness of the product is in the engine. So we have few ideas to expand this whole solution out into the enterprise market as well. So,
good. Let's see what you guys think about this one. All right, go. No thanks. You can't decide. No thanks. No thanks.
Or have an email me, I might be a beta customer.
Oh, well, there you go. That's better. Non-dilutive financing.
So I just saw a business proposal not just this week about somebody trying to do what you're doing, but for the enterprises. I think the challenge is not just a question of taking an existing web page and rendering it on a small and whatever. I think you have to also figure out what the content is going to be on a mobile device. So it's not as simple as having an engine that looks at a web page and says, you know what, this is how I'm going to represent the information. Because the information that you're requesting on a mobile device sometimes is very different than what you're looking at a desktop. So it's not just a question of automatically taking what's there and putting it here. It may be completely different. And so I think there has to be some human element to it, and that's where professional services become actually a big component of these type of things. And that's why they are not very good venture funded businesses actually.
okay. Yeah, so to answer that question, basically,
Yeah, not in this part of the conversation. Steve?
So based on what he said, you can't sell. It's very difficult to sell, to scale the selling process.
My biggest issue was lack of differentiation, and because this is a very busy space, is the mobile tool space. I saw a company presenting who had your exact same 2-minute pitch yesterday, and they were on stage at a conference, and it's hard to tell why you are any better or worse or different from them. And the biggest issue there with them as well as with you is how do you monetize this in a way that gets to a big number in a reasonable amount of time?
I just want to answer this one.
Yeah, you can answer it afterwards, after the session's over. Steve, for a second I thought you were moonlighting as a judge for another organization. You said I saw this 2-minute pitch. In any case, Surya, thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one more. Morelli, if you do the honors. All stuck together. The last one is Optic Lanes, Innovative Traffic Solutions, Chris Ron.
Thank you for choosing my card. Thanks. Last. Yes, we provide sensor software solutions to cities, counties, Department of Transportation, and private companies. Where's the money? The problem is traffic congestion. Everybody faces. More than that, there is something called highway, like productivity. It is like number of vehicles per lane, per segment per hour. So that's less than 50% during peak time. That's the main problem. Visualize you are driving from San Francisco, to San Jose during peak time. If you are lucky, you drive at 60 miles per hour. Pretty soon you are going for a stop and go traffic. So what we are trying to do is synchronize the traffic flow. So you drive 40 miles per hour throughout. If there is so much traffic, that's where our value solution is. We have a traffic sensor. This is an infrared laser-based. Caltrans funded. They spent $1 million through UC system we licensed. And we have a beta product, Caltrans actually spent 60K, to pilot test. Right now, we have a system in Sacramento, and also we have a ex-chief of Caltrans as our advisor to software solutions. How we do, we have one of them we are looking for is RAM metering to begin with. We are working with UC Irvine for that, so we have a lot of people there. And we are 5 people team. We also have a, a serial entrepreneur who started and he got into IPO in 2 years. In DRM space, we have a great team. So we are looking to raise some funds. We are selling some product too right now. In fact, there are 2 companies and one private company for private parking lot. They want to buy our beta product as it is. And also Caltrans, they are the biggest customer in the world. So we are talking to them as well. That's all I have. Thanks.
I don't get the use case for your solution. Could you please describe who purchases what you offer and what your solution accomplishes for them?
Right. So there are 2 things. We have a sensor. We are not going after sensor because hardware-wise, it's pretty less gross margin. And the more, we are planning to sell the software solution to reduce the traffic congestion. One of them is RAM metering. There are a lot of stuff. One is called, highway occupancy, transit, HOT lanes, they call it. So those are some of the solutions, and toll plazas, and also make the traffic flow more smoother by even synchronizing the traffic lights and other stuff. We are not going after installing all the stuff. We are just going to provide software solutions. We sell the solutions to Caltrans cities, and also for private parking lots. They wanted some solutions to keep the actual count for the trucks, how much they can park in a night or so.
So even if I understood the proposition a little vaguely, it doesn't seem like a VC fundable pitch. It looks more like you're doing something that's adjunct to Caltrans or some public sector type undertakings, and your best solution might be to actually get acquired by them or to do it for them as a strategic investor rather than go to the VC community for investment. I'm not clear on what the model is, where you want to grow, what you're trying to do. So.
Yeah, it's actually there are VC funded some sensors, replacement companies out there. They are doing extremely well. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, and we also got approached from Europe as well as from Asia too. It's we are looking at just $2 billion, just congestion relief for just top 20 cities in US right now to begin with. So in California, it's a $200 million market, and they have all the funds for this allocated. They have a bond, $20 billion bond. So we have so much internal connection within Caltrans as well as nationwide too. So we want to use our connection to get ahead, and it's yes, it's definitely VC business because that company, there are 2 companies they funded. They are just after sensor replacement, which is not too much margin wise, because it's a mature market. It's there for 50 years. It's a huge market. We see, our gross margin is higher because we sell solutions, software solution, rather than just a sensor replacement.
So are you a consulting business for the problem of traffic congestion, and you bring tools and solutions to that problem for transportation agencies? I really don't get it still.
Yeah, we have an IP, we have an IP for our traffic sensor. It's an infrared traffic sensor. what happens is, as I said, it's a mature market. They have the inductive loops, which is 50-year-old technology. They are the gold standard. But the problem is when the traffic go below 20 miles per hour, it doesn't work well. So our big point is that the traffic sensor itself, it's a laser based. It works well. It worked well so far. They have done 5 years of research on this, and we want to take the high quality data from our sensor and sell the software solutions to cities, counties, and all these people.
Actually, I'll echo what Murali said. I think your pitch is not coming across well. And in fact, the thought in my mind was the same thing. Is it consulting and professional services? Is that what you're doing? It's not unheard of that such organizations are funded by VCs. I don't think that's the issue. But I think what you are selling, whom you're selling, how much, how will you sell, how long does it take to sell? I think those are the type of things that are not coming across. So perhaps if you make it a little bit more structured in terms of your presentation, I think that's probably better. Because selling to cities like this, is it going to take 5 years? Is it going to take 10 years to sell to those cities? Correct? Right. So I think you need to probably make it a little bit more structured, and then I think it's probably well understood as to what you're selling and why is it such a big opportunity.
I'll try to answer this as the main thing I could not emphasize is what they gain out of this. They gain close to 1.15 million per per year in one segment of the freeway. So just by using our solution, so that's where we want to provide sensor and the software solutions. And we are not going to go after installing all the servers. There are a lot of system integrators. They do the work. How we monetize is that's other part. That's where details are not clear. I think how we monetize. We are planning to close for 3 years. Provide a solution for that segment. Say 5 miles or 10 miles, somewhere like that. So it's a month to month. It's for 3 years. It goes on like that. And how long it takes to sell this? Actually, surprisingly, it doesn't take long because the census networks, they are based in Berkeley. They are VC funded, and there is one more in San Jose. I forgot the name. They are also VC funded. The census networks, they got cash first in year 3 after they got funded, and they are right now selling in 30 countries across the world. So it's yes, it's definitely VC, and they are pretty much into just hardware. They try to bundle some solutions, but that solution doesn't work well because they have magnetic. They have some issues with the quality of data what they get.
Let's see what you guys thought about this one.
I'm going to protect dumbness.
Thanks. Thanks. We got 3
That's okay. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure. So, any specific? You already gave quite a bit of comments on that, Morley. I think I heard you too. Steve, do you have anything?
It came back to my question, which was I didn't really get exactly what you were offering. So, and the questions didn't help to elicit that.
Good. All right. Krish, thank you very much. Actually, why don't you stay on stage? In fact, all of the presenters, why don't you please come on up on stage? Dan over there is going to take a nice little photo of you guys and put up on Google Plus this evening. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask the judges to put their heads together and think about who they thought made the best presentation this evening. And the rest of you, while you're watching all this stuff going on, there's some feedback forms on your tables. If you wouldn't mind just taking a second and filling that in, that'd be really great. Stay on stage for just a second. The judges put their heads together and they thought the best presentation of the evening and who will be invited to TiE Angels meeting in July is Akash Bansal of Kinderline. Kinderline, there you go. Nice job. Nice round of applause for all of you presenters. It takes a lot of guts and spirit to get up here and give a 2-minute presentation like that. So thank you very much for doing that. A nice round of applause for our investor panel who's been this feedback. Thank all of you for coming as well. Good night, everyone.